This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas. Chapter 1, verse 9. Jesus was baptized by John in Jordan on the 9th of Hesvan, 3852. Chapter 1, verse 9. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized by John in Jordan. And coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens opened, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. Chapter 14, verse 22. On the 7th of Nisan, 3793, Jesus shared his Last Supper in the cenacle in Jerusalem. Chapter 14, verse 22. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and broke it, and gave to them and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup, and when he'd given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. Chapter 10, verse 30. I and the Father are one. Chapter 10, verse 30. I and my Father are one. Chapter 5, verse 2. Jesus cures the sick and lame on the 8th of Adar, 3791, in Jerusalem, at the pool of Bethesda. All stand and fling away their canes. Chapter 5, verse 2. Now, there is at Jerusalem, by the sheep market, a pool, which is called, in the Hebrew tongue, Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of the blind, halting, and withered, waiting for the moving of the water. Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Chapter 2, verse 6. Jesus was born of Mary and Joseph on the 22nd of Tebeth at midnight, 3762, in the village of Bethlehem. Chapter 2, verse 6. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered of a child. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. Chapter 24, verse 3. Jesus rose from the dead on the 14th of Nisan, 3793, in Nazareth. He appeared with a halo above his head. Chapter 24, verse 3. But when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were wondering about this, suddenly 2 men enclosed that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground, but the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, he has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee." Chapter 3, verse 18. Words truly pronounced in Abagash. Chapter 3, verse 18. He that believeth in him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Chapter 3, verse 18. Words truly pronounced in Abagash. Chapter 24, verse 3. Jesus rose from the dead on the 14th of Nisan, 3793, in Nazareth. He appeared with a halo above his head. The cycle of the moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert 1 to choose a town, 1 to choose a chapter, and 1 to choose a verse. Those are Roman numerals on the disc.
It works.
Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon. There are different icons on this wheel, but it looks like some of them can't be connected to the other wheels. Mother, what do you think?
As I told you, I didn't get that far. Nevertheless, these icons do represent moments in the life of Christ.
This wheel contains several symbols made up of 1 or 2 figures and 1 letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date. This wheel represents the different moons. Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon. I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck. I never doubted you, my son.